It was supposed to be a footnote in Toyota's long hydrogen journey. But what engineers quietly unveiled a water-cooled combustion engine running at 2,500 degrees Celsius, maybe the industry's biggest disruption in decades. No lithium, no massive batteries, just hydrogen, direct injection, and water. If it works, it doesn't just rival EVs, it renders them obsolete. So, why hasn't the world heard more about it? And why do some insiders believe it may never reach the market at all? If you find stories like this worth knowing, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us bring you more of what really matters. For over a decade, electric vehicles have depended on one thing above all: lithium. From Tesla to Ford, every battery-powered car on the road is built on a supply chain of rare metals, mined, processed, and exported through a fragile global network. But Toyota's new engine doesn't need any of it. Unlike battery EVs, this hydrogen combustion engine doesn't rely on massive lithium-ion cells. It uses water cooling and dual hydrogen injection, avoiding the need for cobalt, nickel, or graphite. That's a fundamental break from everything powering the EV boom. And it couldn't come at a worse time for the battery industry. According to Bloomberg, the global demand for lithium is expected to triple by 2030. Mining companies like Albemarle and SQM have expanded aggressively into South America, while China controls over 60% of global lithium refining. That dominance is strategic. If a major automaker like Toyota can sidestep the lithium race entirely, it doesn't just reduce EV costs. It destabilizes the entire geopolitical equation behind green mobility. The implications aren't just economic, they're national security. The US has been pouring subsidies into domestic battery manufacturing under the Inflation Reduction Act, betting the future on battery supply chains. But this engine challenges that gamble. And some believe that's exactly why it might never be allowed to scale. The entire EV industry depends on a single fragile truth: the assumption that electric charging infrastructure will catch up in time. But Toyota's new engine plays by a different rulebook. Instead of plugging into an overloaded grid, it runs on hydrogen, and not just any hydrogen. Thanks to its dual injection system and water-cooled combustion, the engine achieves high thermal efficiency without needing fuel cells or high-pressure tanks. That means no giant batteries, no hours at charging stations, and no dependence on whether your state upgraded its transformer stations last year. This is where the disruption gets deeper. Across the US, utilities are already under strain. The American grid is aging, underfunded, and barely capable of supporting surges in EV charging. California has issued public warnings during heat waves to limit charging. In Texas, blackouts have already become seasonal. Toyota's system sidesteps all of that. It doesn't require public infrastructure upgrades or private fast charging stations. Just water, a hydrogen supply, and the combustion engine itself. That's a terrifying prospect for utility companies and EV startups who've bet everything on grid expansion. If Toyota's engine proves viable, it invalidates billions in planned infrastructure and makes the case that decentralization, not electrification, is the real future of mobility. And once again, that may be precisely why you're not hearing about it on the nightly news. Electric vehicles were supposed to be the death knell for big oil. But what happens when an alternative emerges that threatens both the oil giants and the battery monopolies? Toyota's hydrogen combustion engine, enhanced by water cooling and dual injection, doesn't need gasoline, and it doesn't need lithium batteries either. It runs on compressed hydrogen, injected directly and port-fed into the cylinders, achieving high efficiency without the emissions or toxic mining footprint. That means no gasoline refueling, no EV charging, and no lithium-intensive battery pack to manufacture, charge, or replace. This engine doesn't fit cleanly into any current business model. Oil companies like ExxonMobil and Chevron can't sell it like gasoline. Battery giants like CATL and Panasonic can't supply it. And utilities can't monetize its energy through grid demand. It simply doesn't benefit any of the incumbent players, making it an existential threat, not a promising innovation. This is where the pressure starts to build behind the scenes. Industry analysts have long warned that any disruptive fuel alternative would trigger institutional resistance. What lobbyist wants Toyota to succeed in eliminating both battery reliance and oil demand in one shot? What investor wants to hear that their EV stock is suddenly 10 years behind a water-cooled combustion engine? If this engine catches on, it won't just change how cars run. It will change who profits. And that could be the most dangerous feature of all. The shift to electric vehicles has already strained global auto supply chains, forcing companies to chase battery metals across continents and build gigafactories in politically safe zones. But if Toyota's hydrogen combustion engine scales, that entire map gets redrawn overnight. No battery modules, no rare earth magnet dependency, no cobalt, no nickel, and no need for China's stranglehold on lithium processing. Suddenly, nations without mineral wealth, but with water and industrial infrastructure, can compete in next-gen mobility. That's revolutionary, but also destabilizing. Toyota's engine opens the door for emerging markets to bypass the EV arms race. Countries like Indonesia, Brazil, and even parts of Africa, where access to electricity is limited but industrial labor is plentiful, could begin producing low-emission vehicles powered by local hydrogen sources and basic engine assembly lines. That alone would upend current trade agreements and undercut auto production hubs in Germany, Japan, and the United States. And it's not just governments that would be threatened. Tier 1 auto suppliers, battery recycling startups, and EV drivetrain manufacturers could see their entire business models collapse. When a technology makes the world cheaper, simpler, and more self-sufficient, it rarely gets welcomed by those who've profited from complexity. Not every innovation gets to survive, and Toyota's engine may be the perfect example of a technology too disruptive to be allowed. It wouldn't be the first time. In the 1990s, American inventor Stanley Meyer claimed to have built a water-powered car. He refused multi-million-dollar buyouts. Weeks later, he died under mysterious circumstances, allegedly poisoned during a meeting. His prototype and plans vanished from his garage days after. The official cause, brain aneurysm. But for many, the message was clear: don't challenge the system. Toyota isn't working in a garage. They have the engineering scale, the capital, and the global reach to make this engine real. But the fact that it's being developed with so little public visibility is telling. There's no media rollout, no investor hype, no government fanfare, just whispers of ultra-high-temp hydrogen combustion, water cooling, and a dual injection system built to bypass the very foundation of modern EVs. If this technology does go public, it won't just be a scientific victory. It'll be a geopolitical provocation. Because once the world sees a low-cost, zero-emissions engine that requires neither oil nor lithium, the battle lines won't be corporate. They'll be national. And in a global economy built on energy leverage, not every breakthrough makes it to market. Toyota may have built more than an engine. They may have built an exit ramp from the energy systems that power our world, oil rigs, lithium mines, and trillion-dollar EV bets. But breakthroughs don't guarantee survival. They threaten the wrong people, challenge the wrong markets, and disappear before the public ever hears the full story. So, the question isn't just can this engine run? It's, will we ever be allowed to drive it? If you want to see more untold stories like this, be sure to subscribe. You deserve to know what's really under the hood.